head to Charleston tomorrow. As of right now, I don't have any changes in our roster. It's a really good field. When we looked at it, we thought it was a field that there was pretty much any team could beat us, but we could beat any team. Right now, the field is undefeated with Temple having not played. You know, we've been kind of pointing towards the tournament a little bit, all the way back from our trip to Italy, knowing that we're going to get tested early. And these teams are going to be much better than Norfolk State was. Indiana State is out of the Missouri Valley Conference. That's the same conference that has produced Wichita State for all those years. And obviously, historically, that's where Larry Bird played. They beat Indiana by 21 at Indiana to open their season. And they returned a couple of terrific guards, Brendan Scott and Jordan Barnes. They both hit 5 threes each, and you know, they shot an amazing percentage. They shot 59% from the floor, and they were 17 for 26 from 3. So it'll be a tough cover. Interestingly, they do a lot of things that we do. So when we were preparing for the SDM practice, we actually ran a lot of our plays against our, you know, ones versus ones, and so we got, from a standpoint, it's not going to be anything that we don't go up against all the time. They just do it. They do it really well. If we're able to, you know, get that one, then we'll play the winner of Temple and Old Dominion. We lose, we play the loser of the Temple Old Dominion game. And Jeff Jones, the coach at Old Dominion, been around a long time. Actually, both these coaches have been around a long time. Just terrific history for both programs. And so I think just because of 3 games in 4 days, we're going to see it all. And but I think we have enough stuff in the playbooks, both offensively and defensively, that we can handle. If we see Old Dominion, they wind up playing a 1-3-1, or we get a matchup zone like Norfolk State played us, or, you know, different things. I just think, even though it's early in the season, I think we have enough in to be able to match up with, you know, with anything. And we're going to find out a lot about our team this weekend.
First, when a team shoots 17 of 22 from 3, or at least starts out that way in Assembly Hall, there's one of 2 ways you can look at it. We're going to really have to cover them, but Greg Rinsing even said, I don't know if we'll shoot that well from 3 the rest of the year.
Right.
So there's the fear factor, but also knowing that was probably, you know, not a representation of what they're going to do all
It's
year.
interesting. Scott is a lot like Bryce, and Barnes is a lot like Jared. They're both really dangerous offense. You've seen Jared go off. I mean, you've seen Jared get hot and pull from 3 at great distance, and his quickness, and Scott. I'm not sure if he was the leading returning scorer in the Valley or whatever. I mean, he was an all-conference player. He's just a tough cover, a very powerful, explosive body, much like Bryce. So, yeah, they're dangerous from that standpoint. They've got a pick and pop 4-man that is a tough matchup, and they've got a couple of centers that are big in the butt and strong and physical players. So they just do a good job. I think the thing about when you play, like Indiana State has already played Illinois in a close scrimmage. They played Purdue in one of those extra charity exhibition games, and they played Indiana. So they've already played 3, you know, Big Ten teams. So going up against us won't be. It's not like they're going to be stepping up in class.
Do Danielle and Austin, do they travel? Are they going to travel?
As of right now, no, but that could change in a moment's notice. But right now, they're not on the traveling squad, but that could change.
So if they're not playing, they're not traveling? So.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you think there's a possibility then that could get cleared by tomorrow morning, but before you leave?
Guys, because the investigation is ongoing and different things are taking place every day, absolutely it's possible. But I have no information as to whether that's more or less likely. Just, if I start off saying, right now, this is our roster, right now, this is our travel squad, and that could change.
When are you leaving?
Leave tomorrow morning.
Bruce, is there a time that you would, sure, immediately would be optimal, but is there a time in your mind where you'd like to have finality on your own status? Because when you've just lost 2 members of your support staff, when planning for this is already difficult enough. All right, come back from this and it's Sunday afternoon, Monday. How do you begin to plan ahead when every day is literally a day at a time? How can you continue to operate at a day at a time mentality indefinitely?
Right. When you are in the middle, or maybe hopefully towards the end of an ongoing investigation, we have obviously had to survive an awful lot of discovery and a lot of information. We're still here. But because it is ongoing, it just so happens to be at the start of our season, all you can do is take it one day at a time and continue to prepare. So I don't think anybody's in a position to guarantee anybody's either eligibility or job security or things like that, because it is an ongoing process. And so, yeah, it's difficult. And yeah, yesterday was a very difficult day, losing 2 staff members, even though they're on, what is it, paid indefinite suspension or indefinite suspension. That hurts. Those guys are part of the family. And it tugs at your heart. It's disruptive to the kids. But that's what going through this at this time does. So you have to truly take it one day at a time, and I've got to prepare to play I got to prepare to play with those guys. I got to prepare to play without those guys. And you do the best you can.
How confident are you that if you get on that plane tomorrow morning, that you're at least coaching all 3 of these games in 4 days?
How can I be any more or less confident based on any other information I have? I'm the coach of our basketball program. I'm focused on the task at hand.
How often is the administration providing you updates on the investigation and what's going on?
We're talking about it daily. I mean, we are literally in communication daily. And we are working on it for several hours a day, I can promise you.
Are you happy with how forthcoming they've been with you?
Yeah, I think the lines of communication are definitely open. Obviously there's a lot about the investigation I don't know, but we are communicating.
You said yesterday that you they didn't provide you any details of why the staffers were put on indefinitely. Do you know of any reason why they would be? Do you know?
Just the details. I've got an idea, but I can't comment on it.
In your communication with administrators, that includes President Lee Armstrong, that's not just Jay, that includes people at Sanford?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on who I'm communicating with, but they are keeping us in the loop for sure.
Well, it begs the question, when there are leaks, Bruce, do you trust this president?
Oh, of course I trust the administration, absolutely. Absolutely, I have absolutely no reason not to trust them.
Bruce, is there anybody else besides Austin and D'Angelo that's not on the travel team right now?
No, everybody else has been certified.
Do you ask them, but I know, do you ask them for updates on your own status? Do you say, all right, where do I stand right now?
The only thing that's changed about my status is some report or some rumor. In my mind, my status is my status. I'm the basketball coach at Auburn, and we're in the middle of an ongoing investigation. Guys, let's talk about basketball. We've covered that pretty good. Anything else?
Bruce, what do you do without, I know fans aren't gonna maybe understand this, but without a video coordinator and without other staff members, what do you do in a tournament setting where you don't know who you're gonna play on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I've got a really talented, hardworking staff, and so, we all definitely get involved in a lot of areas. So there are several people on our staff, including our managers, that have ability to do the video work. Our coaches are having to double up on some scouting responsibilities. And so, yeah, there's definitely a greater workload. But that's the position we find ourselves in. But we'll be okay. We'll be prepared.
Can you talk about importance of rebounding against these teams you're going to be facing in Charleston?
Rebounding has been an area that we worked on. And we talked about a couple of things. We talked about defense, we talked about transition defense, we talked about rebounding and free throw shooting. Those are 4 primary areas that we felt like we had to improve on in order to be successful. And I think that we have had the right focus in those areas. But we got to rebound as a team. You know, we don't have right now we don't have a dominant 10 rebound a game night. 10 rebound a night game night players. So we got to do it by committee. I think our guards are doing a better job of perimeter checkouts and not letting guards run to the boards. You know, Mustafa's going to have a matchup. Both he and Malik will have a matchup at the 3 spot of a guy that averages 6 or 7 rebounds a game coming from the perimeter. So they're going to do a good job of that. But rebounding is one way to be able to end possessions. And I thought we rebounded the ball pretty well against Norfolk State. They were spread out. Indiana State will put a little bit more pressure on us, rebound the ball, but it's definitely been a focus.
Bruce, against Norfolk State more than you did against Berry, you used that full court, trap and tried to get some turnovers that way. And is that something that you could see happening as the season goes on? And specifically from an X's and O's standpoint, it looked like Norfolk can throw that baseball
Right.
pass over the top.
Yeah, they beat us twice on that, and both times were actually breakdowns in coverage. And so, but it's risk reward, and for us, we extend over 94 feet. We do play 9, 10 guys. We want to wear people down, and it won't be a big factor in the first night against Indiana State, but maybe it'll be a factor in the second game and the third game. We're definitely extending, and sometimes you may not notice a turnover, but if we can get a different guard to bring the ball up the floor, and after they get done breaking on pressure, they only have 22 seconds on the shot clock instead of 30 or something like that, we've accomplished something, as well as making them work to get in, make them work to get them down, and get their offense established. So.